I'm going to tell you the 3 best investments that you can make in preparing your home for sale, preferably by owner. My name's Rock, Florida. I'm a recovering real estate broker who has helped hundreds of for sale by owners save millions of dollars on real estate agent and agency fees over the past 15 years of teaching them what they wish they would have known. I'm on a mission to provide you with the knowledge, the tools, and the confidence that you need to represent your own property for sale. And take a moment to subscribe to my channel, like, comment. Definitely comment on things that I may have missed or you feel misconstrued. I'm all for it. And you're probably here because you've ended up seeking how to prepare your home for sale, and you keep getting all the guff that goes along the lines of paint in a neutral color, entirely paint your home and replace the countertops and replace a bunch of fixtures. And it ends up, after you nickel and dime it all together, being thousands of dollars, sometimes $15,000 in painting and renovating, that are highly subjective calls. You may nail the absolute color that the buyer would have preferred, or you may actually totally choose the flooring that they would prefer when you choose hardwood over porcelain, but you may totally miss the boat as well. And there you invested $11,000 or $12,000 in something no one's going to appreciate. And all these home improvement or subjective types of investments end up depreciating the property value unless you do happen to nail it. So I wanted to share the 3 things that you can do for generally under about $1,500 and guarantee a return on your investment. So the first one is something you likely have already paid for, an appraisal. Okay. Most people, when I visit with them initially on their property, I ask them, hey, do you have an appraisal on the property? Well, they don't even know. They don't know where they put it, where they kept it. They think they got one when they bought it. Now, if they did conventional financing like the majority of folks do, then I will guarantee you the mortgagor had an appraisal on their property that they purchased that had your name stuck on the mortgage. And you should have gotten a copy of that. So find it, because you may have already invested in it and may not need to do so. Why? Because it will stipulate, yes, we understand that the valuation it purports and the comparables are old and outdated, no longer of any substance to your processes currently. However, the most critical piece of data that is in that document will be the square footage. When people are buying anything, they're going to establish a valuation based on dollars per ounce, dollars per pound, dollars per gallon, right? I do it. I'm going to comparatively shop. And when they're buying real estate, they want to know the square footage basis, right? And the courthouse is going to be taxing you at a certain rate, and while they may have measured it as per the floor plans or what, everybody that measures anything is going to come up with something different. And oftentimes the appraiser is going to measure it more correctly. And you're going to, while my current home is around 2,000 square feet, if I was representing that square footage, the buyer in their subconscious is going to feel as if I just rounded up. Now, the courthouse records show my home as 2,071 square feet, which is in the public domain. Zillow is going to make their estimates based on that public information. However, when I purchased the property, it came with an appraisal, which I've stored in my due diligence folder. And the appraiser measured it at 2,086 square feet. So while that's only 15 square feet, we'll just say it's $100 a square foot, which actually my neighborhood's running more around 135 a square foot. But for ease of math, that 15 square feet is worth $1,500. So quick little story. I had a seller who was also the general contractor who built his home. And he had built it and thought it was around 3,070 square feet. And the courthouse had it at 2,986, right? Substantial difference there. Now, he had the floor plans. He had measured it in such a way. But when I visited with them, I suggested, you've got a discrepancy here. And the consumer, the buyer, is going to be looking at that courthouse record. And when you tell them it's something different, who are they going to believe? So they paid $125 to have an appraiser come out and measure their property. And he came up with 3,180 square feet. So the difference between what the appraiser measured and what the courthouse records had shown improved the valuation of his property by over $30,000 for a $125 investment. So know what you're selling. And the second most critical investment that you're going to make, again, back to knowing what you're selling, houses are like people. They're always a little messed up. So pay for a professional pre-inspection of the property. You have to sell a house 3 times, right? Selling it to the buyer is easy, right? They come in, they like the floor plan, it looks to work for them, they write up the contract. The second time, you have to sell it to the appraiser, but you've already measured the square footage. As long as your comps are holding up, shouldn't be a problem. Third time, when the buyer contracts for the sale of a home, for the purchase of a home, they're going to hire a home inspector, right? And while many sellers would just rather relegate that to the buyer, let the buyer get the inspection, and it's always going to come out in the wash. And you want to know beforehand what's wrong with the property, right? There's going to be all kinds of non-grounded plugs or outlets, possible leaks, all kinds of things come up in a home inspection. And you want to know about those beforehand, because the third way you have to sell a home is to that home inspector. And when that buyer calls in the bad cop, who is the home inspector that they've hired, right? You want to be able to have already provided them with a pre-inspection document that says, this is what's wrong with the property you're about to purchase. These missing screens, these squeaky hinges, whatever it is, these doors that jam and things like that. But you'll be able to provide them with a document that says, I've already fixed these things, and make your offer subject to this, right? So that's a very important portion of the process. It always comes out in the wash, and you want to make sure that you were the one representing it with all its faults and defects, okay? And the third most critical thing to invest in before selling your property, do the stuff that's dirt cheap, right? Whether it's professional or just landscaping, right? Buy a few bags of mulch, maybe a few seasonal perennials, slap a coat of paint on the front door or the gables or the shutters. You may need a little bit of paint, but you don't need to spend just a massive amount on painting in preparation, right? Houses are going to be messed up, so you need to present them with whatever allowances for things. But with the landscaping, mulch, rocks, trim your hedges, edge the lawns. If you need to pay somebody, spend $500 or $600 on landscaping, because you have 7 minutes and 14 seconds to sell a house, right? The first set of 7 seconds is when they pull up. and they don't pull up to buy your house. They pull up to check it off their list. And that first set of 7 seconds, do everything you can for the curb appeal for, $500 or $600. And remember, unless you've been procrastinating and it's become absolutely critical that you have to paint the entire house or replace a bunch of busted up stuff, it's always best to package your offering in such a way that acknowledges it may not be perfect and that you're willing to make allowances with an acceptable contract. As a matter of fact, it's always in everyone's best interest if you're the first to make mention of any weaknesses the property has, as it will always come out in the wash. So one principle that will always guide you properly on your path of selling real estate is, how would this sound to a judge? And so make it a point to invest properly in putting together a complete due diligence package, and I can provide you with that checklist of that and the link below. And again, subscribe to my channel, like, comment. Anytime that I may be of any help, please don't hesitate to call, and make it a great day. All right, bye-bye.